Hey, it's Tuxedo Mark. It's 2:54 p.m. on Sunday, September 17, 2023. And yesterday I attended 90s Con Florida at the Tampa Convention Center. It was my first time going to like a bigger con, like an actual one with celebrity guests. I've attended a few local cons here in my county and elsewhere, but nothing like this. So I had to purchase my ticket in advance and or the pass, and it got sent to the convention center because I ordered it after a certain date, like after August 11th, I think. It got sent to the convention center, so I had to pick it up there in the lobby. Now, I left the house early enough. I think I set my alarm for 7 a.m., took care of the pets, and then I head out. And I made good time. But then when I got near the parking garage for the convention center, I kept missing where it was. It was my fault. If I just I took like the first left, and I should have taken the second left to enter the parking garage. So I kept making like circling around, making a lot of unnecessary mileage. But I finally got in there uh, to the parking garage, and then you had to pay ahead of time. So my credit card was so worn out. The chip didn't work, and I couldn't swipe. So the lady that was helping us at the little pay station. She said just like a new card. So I had to use my debit card to pay for the parking. I did for a whole day. It was like $12, so that was fine. Um, so then we took the stairs and we actually exited out onto a street. So then we had to make our way across the street to actually get into the convention center. Um, and there were lines there for 90s Con, and there were directions on which way to go to get to the 90s Con uh, entrance. So then I had to ask where to pick up my badge, and they sent me over to a booth, and I picked it up. And this is what I wore. It says you must tap your badge at all entrances. Badge must be with you at all times. I wore this around my neck, and it says this is your ticket. So this is my Saturday badge. They only ever scan it once. I don't recall them ever scanning it the first time that I went into the main hall where all the booths and stuff were set up. I exited a few times to go downstairs to the first floor where the main when I re-entered um, the hall where the all the booths and stuff were set up. So that was weird. Good thing that I had on me, but yeah, they only ever scanned it once, so it wasn't like when I first went in. It was like later on during the middle of the day. There were randomly people at the door that just scanned the badge. It's like, okay, if you didn't scan it the first time that I went in, um, and yeah, they said if you have a badge, you can go right in. Um, or you have to like follow along the wall, go up the stairs, and go in. But there was no one there checking these badges the first time because there was like a whole row of like two rows of people just or two lines of people just going in all at once. So it's like I could have just gone in there, and as long as I didn't leave for the day, no one would have checked. But anyway, so I picked up this program thing, this official guide in the lobby. but it doesn't have like any information on it that I couldn't have seen online, except for this map, I guess. Even though I think maybe that was online as well, probably. Um, all that it says here is it lists the celebrities, and I'll go through his book one thing at a time. There's the map and a little after party with Nick Carter. It's the official after party on the 16th. It said it was beginning at 8 p.m. I did not stick around for this. Here it has panel schedule, but it says to scan this QR code. So it's like they didn't even put it in here. That's where I'm glad that I went online and just checked the website for like all the for the panel information and stuff. So here's the celebrities that showed up. Got the Boy Meets World panel. You got like Disney princesses, and you got like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. More Sabrina the Teenage Witch. You got Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh. And then you got a bunch of boy bands. They're not listing all these people by category or alphabetically. It seems like random. You got Danica McKellar from the Wonder Years. Family Matters, Saved by the Bell, TLC, and then you got Candace Cameron from Full House. Rest of the Full House people, and then you got like 90210. So these are kind of grouped in order, but not exactly, really. More 90210, Charmed, Claire Kramer from Buffy. Apparently, she's a moderator for a panel. I forgot about that. I recorded the Family Matters panel. I'm wondering if that was her asking the questions. I'll have to look at the video. No, but there's also a different moderator as well. Okay, now I remember reading online that Claire would be moderating some panels, but it didn't specify which ones. So, yeah. Claire Kramer played Glory in season 5 of Buffy. And then they got like all this merchandise. There were so many merch booths set up. I resisted like buying anything. The only thing that I got was the photo keeper, which they refer to it as a trapper keeper, but it's a photo keeper. I'll show that to you soon. And then like you got like blank pages for autographs. I did not make use of these. A special thank you type of thing. And then a thank you message at the end. And then next events, which are nowhere near me, so. And back cover. All right, so I did not really consult this because it didn't really have much useful information in it. But anyway, so the first thing I did was I kind of just walked the floor before I even waited in anyone's lines, I just went to see like whose booths were set up where. And there were like two separate rows, like two separate alleys, I guess you could call them, of booths. Um, I think there might have been booths on each side of both alleys, or at least the first alley had booths on both sides. Second one might have had only on the right hand side. But anyway, I don't remember now. But there were a lot of booths there. Now here's the thing. I had actually made a spreadsheet before I even went to the con, trying to figure out everyone's pricing for each different possible thing. And I was trying to budget like how much that I would spend. And I brought with me, I believe it was like $540. Um, so, okay. So here's the thing. I walked around, I looked at everyone's booths, um, and not everyone would be at their booths at the same time. Sometimes they would go on break. Um, the signs were listed. There were like signs at where the lines were supposed to end, listing each person's name, uh, how much they charged for each thing. And also, it had noticed that if they were gone, you could scan for a QR code for panel information, and you could scan to learn like their schedules of when they would be back, like for photo ops. But I think that was probably only for the professional photo ops, not like when they would be back at their booths. For that, you just have to ask whoever's there for information on when they'd be back. But I did scan the QR code, and that was completely useless because it downloaded or it went to a PDF. But to open it, I would have had to register, which was free, but I would have to use my credit card to like verify the registration. So I did not bother with any of that. Um, so that was kind of annoying. There are several annoyances that I encountered throughout the day, so I'll let you know about those. But anyway, I eventually ended up getting the photo keeper. It was like $20. That came with 5 plastic sheets to keep photos in. Later on, I wanted to get more sheets, but they weren't sold separately. They only came with a photo keeper. So I ended up putting the rest of my photos like facing on the opposite side in some of the plastic sleeves. But so let's go through them one at a time. First, I went to meet Jenna Lee Green, and she wrote down to Mark Hart, love Jenna Lee Green. So she played Libby Chesler on, I believe it was the first 3 seasons of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She was the mean girl, basically. She and Sabrina were on friendly terms for like only one episode when they were going to a concert together, and that was literally it. So that was really weird. But yeah, so I went to see her. I just walked right up to her booth. There was like no line for her, but she was super nice. Everyone was okay. I'll just say this right now. Everyone was nice. The other person at our booth asked me like how my day was going, how I mentioned, that this was a learning experience for me because I come from a semi-rural county, just driving in the city. Was a learning experience, and I've never been to something like this before. And Jenna's like, "Oh no, well, you're here now. You made it. The day's young." So yeah. Um, Now, for each person that I visited, sometimes they put, sometimes think what I would be getting. I chose combo for everyone, as it turns out. So combo means autographed picture, like an 8 by 10, plus a selfie. So they would put down my name, and or the person taking down the information would usually ask, I think they asked me always if it was Mark with a K. I'm like, yes. I think sometimes some of the actors actually ask me, but usually I think it was just the person taking down the information. So she was really nice. And then um, I met Claire Kramer. As I said, she was Glory in season 5 of Buffy. So she wrote, Mark, best wishes always, heart, Claire Kramer. Um, it doesn't say Glory, it says as Glorificus, which is her formal name. So yeah, and she was nice too. I don't think there was even a line for her booth either. I think I just walked up to it. This was still early in the day, though. This was like after 10 a.m., but before 11. So that was neat. And then after that, I think is when I got the binder. Now, here's another annoyance: is that there really wasn't a place to sit down. Um, so I just had to find a place to myself to like set down my stuff briefly and work on the binder. So I brought a plastic bag with me from like Dollar Tree that I kept my video camera in, as well as my Saved by the Bell T-shirt with Kelly Kapowski on it, in case I got an autograph from someone from Saved by the Bell. I could switch shirts. Otherwise, I wore this Buffy shirt that I got online, which the person I was with, Claire, noticed and said, "Cool shirt." And then he said, "Actually, I know an actor. I know a Buffy star." I immediately knew what he meant. I just looked over at Claire, and she was just like, so. Um, anyway, then I went downstairs um, to the Family Matters panel. It was in the ballroom on the first floor. You have to go back down to like the lobby area and then take the escalator downstairs. So yeah, the lobby actually is on the second floor. That's when it's weird. You have to like climb a bunch of steps to get into the convention center and go into the lobby area, and that is actually a second floor. So the first floor um, is where the ballroom is. So I attended the Family Matters panel. Now this got kind of annoying because after a while I decided to try to record it. Problem is when I opened the camera and I wanted to zoom in on the actors because you got Reginald Bell Johnson, who was Carl, Jo Mary Payton, who was Harriet, and Kelly Williams, who was Laura. So I zoomed in, but the result was that it was just blurry and you couldn't tell who was who. So I gave up on that. Now, after a while longer, I decided to try my phone. I didn't really expect any kind of different result, but I zoomed in on my phone and hey, it looked kind of decent. Um, so I recorded most of the panel on my phone. Um, I missed the beginning, so and I kind of regret not figuring out how to record the panel, or not thinking to record a panel using my phone from the beginning because it was really nice. I walked in while they were already talking, so I did miss the beginning of it, but part of what I didn't get on video was Joe Mary Payton basically talking about how they all felt like family, and she kept talking about family basically, and how she mentioned the actor who played 3J like in the later seasons. She didn't talk about him by name, but his name is Orlando Brown. And I looked him up last night after I got home, and yeah, he's had legal issues, but she was talking about how try to reach out to him. So like she gave a sense that they were all basically trying to look after each other, which was nice. Um, then eventually I started recording out my phone. I got most of the panel on my phone. The files are huge. um, I'm going to try eventually to upload them, assuming I can. Uh, but it might be a while before you get that. I think the first thing that I'll try uploading, uh, well, I'll get to that later. But anyway, after Family Matters panel was the Sabrina the Teenage Witch panel. Now I thought, okay, I could just hang out in the ballroom, but no, they make you exit the ballroom after every panel. If you want to see a next panel, you have to go and wait in line to re-enter. The line for the Sabrina panel was long. It was very long, and I decided I wasn't going to wait there to try to have some hope to sit in on that. Um, okay, I guess I better talk about like the seating arrangements um, in the ballroom, which was they call it a ballroom, but it's like it had a bunch of seating, so it was more like an auditorium. So the middle section, like directly facing the stage, was like the VIP area. I was not a VIP, so I had to sit off to the side, which was fine. I had a decent view of the stage. They had like two large TV screens there, so you could look at the actors. If you couldn't see them, I could see them just fine, just by looking at the stage. Um, Now, after the panel was over and I was leaving, I realized I had set my binder down and I had forgotten about it. So I quickly went back in there. It was already gone. I started panicking. First, I let the security guy know that had to go back in. I was trying to politely wait for everyone to file out, and he's like, "Oh, just go in." So I had to kind of excuse myself and wiggle back in there, and that's when I realized that the binder wasn't there. Someone eventually came up to me with it, and she said apparently someone just turned into her. So that was a close call. I would have had to like get a new binder and re-wait in Jenna and Claire's lines for another autograph. That would have cost a lot of money. So I'm glad that someone was nice enough to turn in my binder. Um, anyway, so then I decided to go back upstairs in search of more autographs and selfies. The selfies are mostly what I came for. I mean, I could have gone and autographed pictures through their websites, I assume. But anyway. So, I'm not a huge Beverly Hills 90210 fan. I've seen episodes back in the day, like here and there, but I haven't watched it all the way through. I got my mom hooked on it after she had already watched the 90210 spin-off, like the revival series. But I got my mom into the original, but even that was incomplete on streaming. I don't know if it was on Hulu or where, but there were various episodes missing. I heard supposedly it might have been due to music copyrights, but who knows? But anyway, I went for Tori Spelling. She had like the relatively shorter line out of all of them, I think. I still had to wait, but it wasn't too bad. And yes, she was nice. Okay. Then, um, and here's the thing. At some point, might have been before I went for Tori. Actually, I think it was like trying to remember. But at one point, I had gone in Elizabeth Berkley's line. She was Jessie on Saved by the Bell. Now, here's another annoyance: is sometimes you'll wait in line, and then someone will come up to you and say, "Oh, actually, the line is closed after this person," and and then everyone behind that person was just out of luck. That's really annoying. Um, so Elizabeth would have been. They I had to ask, and the person at her booth said, "Well, she went on break. She'll probably be back around like 2:30, something like that." Um, so I think I'm I'm trying to remember of exactly when I went to Tori. Um, but anyway, so I missed out on Elizabeth, even though I saw her, she was right there. But after a certain person, that was it basically. So I was out of luck. Um, and I think this was around the time that I was told to like scan QR code, which, as I said, that wasn't helpful. But the person at her booth said she'd be back around 2 or 2:30. Now, also, I went. I stood in at Jim Cummings' line for a while because I always watched the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh on Saturday mornings. But I was still thinking about it, whether to get anything from him or not. I eventually just left the line, which wasn't even really long or anything. Just because I thought maybe I'll get someone else's autograph that would mean more to me. Anyway, so at one point I went and stood Will Friedle's line in the Boy Meets World section. Now, I never saw Boy Meets World. I was thinking of going to William Daniels to get an autograph from him just because he was the voice of Kit on Knight Rider, which I did not watch when it was new, but I did see it in reruns, so I thought maybe him. There was also like a photo op, which I think you had to prepay for, otherwise you'd be out of luck, but they had like Kit there in one area. You could get a photo with the car and with William Daniels. So I did not do that. I don't even know if it was the original Kit, to be honest. I'm not sure if that car still exists. It might have been a replica. Who knows? But it had like voice samples playing, and the light was flashing there. And so it was cool. And they had like a monitor playing like clips from Knight Rider on mute. But anyway, so I went and stood in Will Friedle's line because not that I ever saw him in Boy Meets World, but he's the voice of Terry McGinnis on Batman Beyond. I love that show. Now, as it turned out, I had the bad luck that someone eventually came up to me and said, "Oh, the line actually ends with her," and pointed at the person right in front of me. But then she was like, "Oh, you can. He's going on break, but you can feel free to like hang out here if you want." And I think she mentioned he'd be back like a half hour to an hour or something like that. I don't know. But so when I went up to the person that was sitting with him at the booth, called me up, and I was honest. I said, "I'm actually like after the cutoff." Then she's like, "Oh, well, I'll let you in anyway." So, let's back up to Tori first. She wrote down to Mark, heart always, Tori spelling XXO. So with Will, I requested he draw a little bat symbol after his name, which he did. He wrote to Mark, and then he wrote, "I am Batman," and he signed his name and drew this little bat symbol. So that was neat. I was honest with him. I let him know that Batman Beyond was the only place I knew him from. He's like, "Oh, that's cool. I like Batman." At 2 o'clock, I went downstairs and I attended the cosplay contest, which was to be hosted by Claire Kramer, or at least that's what a website said. And apparently, she thought she would be hosting too, but there was in fact another host, like an actual host, and she would basically be the celebrity judge. And she seemed kind of confused, and she said, "Oh, well, it's good that there's another host here. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to pronounce all those weird anime names," and so that was something. So I sat there for a while. I recorded on my camera. I figured if I didn't, well, first of all, I thought maybe the reason that the Family Matters cast looks so blurry on this camera was maybe I didn't have autofocus turned on. So I scrolled through the settings and I couldn't find the autofocus, which was weird because I think someone like back when I was recording my YouTube videos on this, they would suggest I turn the autofocus off. So I think I did that on this camera, but I scrolled through these settings. I could not find turn autofocus on here. So I figured if I zoomed in just a little bit, but not completely, it should look fine, which it did. So I started recording the cosplay contest. Now, at one point, Claire said, "I feel like I shouldn't even be here." So she left the stage to allow the cosplayers to be the only ones on stage, and she went and sat down. Now, I still heard her voice, but if she wasn't going to be on the stage, I felt no real need to record a cosplay contest. And in fact, so I stopped recording. I watched for a while. It was a bit cringy. Some of the cosplayers were making kind of weird puns and stuff. One girl said she was the last living Tamagotchi or whatever. One girl dressed as Belle from Beauty and the Beast, but she called herself Saved by the Bell, which is weird. So I'm like, okay, I get the idea. There were like two Carmen Sandiegos, so two different groups of people that were called up. These weren't all groups like a group cosplay. They just called up a certain number of people at a time. So I swear there were like two Carmen Sandiegos in a row. But anyway, so I decided to leave after a few minutes and just go back upstairs and search for more people to have autographs with. Elizabeth Berkley still wasn't back, and the attendant at her booth said she was supposed to be back, but she went on another break, and I don't know when she's going to be back. Okay. I was thinking of going to see Danica Patrick from the Wonder Years, but I noticed her booth was unattended quite often throughout the day. I think I might have seen her early on, then she just disappeared. There were stacks of like her books sitting there and stuff like that. And she had a banner in front of her booth that read, I wonder where the rest of my cast is. And I was thinking, I wonder where you are. But anyway, so I struck out again on finding Elizabeth. So I went to Melissa Joan Hart's line. I had to wait for her to show back up, I think. I selected a photo and I waited in line for her. And she eventually showed up. Now, Jenna Green was like her booth was right to the left of Melissa's when you're facing them. Oh, there just were not a lot of people lining up to see her, if any. Oftentimes she was just sitting there waiting, and I heard one of the other people that were in line with me to see Melissa, and she said, I feel so sorry for her. Which, yeah, I kind of did too, because she was nice to me, and uh, it's kind of sad that everyone's lining up to see Melissa, and with uh, no one really, or at least not many people, showed up for her. But anyway, I misread what Melissa wrote for me. And yes, Melissa was nice. She asked me who I'd seen already, so I listed everyone. But anyway, I had to pick a pick with Salem. Um, she wrote down Dear Mark, best witches. So yeah, that was neat. So I was talk. I She asked, "Who have you met?" So I started listing everyone. Um, and when I mentioned Will, she was like, "Oh yeah, I like Will." Um, I said, "Oh, first I went to Jenna," and she's like, eh. So anyway, so that was neat. Now, before I get to the last person of the day that I met, let me back up to Kelly. Did I show Kelly? Oh, I forgot about I forgot about Kelly. I saw her after I went to see Wilfred L. Um, so she was between uh, Will and Melissa in terms of the people I went to see. So Kelly, um, all right. So there were relatively fewer people waiting to see her than either Reginald or Joe Marie. Um, or Joe Marie. Anyway, um, but she was super nice. She was like the nicest one that I met. She, in fact, she wanted to take two selfies. She's like, "We're gonna do a serious one, and then we'll do a silly one." Okay. I'm like, okay, so like, what's your idea for a silly one? She's like, oh, just like make like a goofy face or something. So we did that. That was cool. Um, she had also asked me who I'd seen. So I listed everyone so far. When I mentioned Tori Spelling, she's like, "Oh, she's here." I'm like, "Yeah, over by like in the 90210 section over there." Um, so she was like surprised that Tori Spelling was here. Uh, Now, when I was talking to Melissa and I mentioned, Claire Kramer from Buffy, and she's like, huh, where is she? I'm like, last I saw, she was downstairs, um, like judging a cosplay contest, or I might have said hosting. I don't know. But I was looking at my phone. I was like, I don't know, 3:12 at that point or something, and I was like, but it's probably over at this point. Um, so that was neat. Um, so after Melissa, um, I went to check on Elizabeth Berkley again. Still no, she still wasn't there. Um, so I went to wait in line, and I had to wait for her to show back up from break or wherever she was. But I went with Jodie Sweetin from Full House. She was definitely on Full House and Fuller House. So she wrote to Mark, Hart, and I assume that's her signature. Some of these signatures are more legible. Some of them look like, you know. But anyway, so she was nice too, of course. And when she came out from behind the curtain, because there were like banners or curtains or something, there was like a curtained off area that they emerged from. I'm guessing, I don't know what they have back there, but in fact, at one point when I was looking for a place to sit just to organize my stuff, someone from the event told me that I can't be anywhere near the curtains. So I'm guessing that's like some secretive area where like the celebrities hang out when they're not at their booths. And maybe that's even a way for them to get in and out of the hall without actually using any of their regular exits. Maybe, I'm guessing. I don't know. But anyway, Jodie finally came out from behind the curtain and she was waved and she was like, yeah, okay, let's get this, let's do this. In fact, one guy in line with me said, oh, she's coming. I recognize her outfit. um, and then all the Full House people basically showed up at their booths at about the same time. I guess maybe they all went out somewhere together. I'm not sure. But it seemed like they all basically arrived back at the same time. So Jodie, I kept checking my money throughout the day, which there was no, really safe, secluded place to be able to do that. So I always felt kind of nervous flipping through my money. Only place really would be to go into a restroom and go into a stall. That's like the only privacy that you could get there. And there were no chairs to sit down in or anything. But anyway, so I waited for Jodie, and she was nice too. I don't know if she asked me who I'd seen or not, but anyway, so I set my stuff down on the table as usual, but she kind of moved it out of the way. She's like, okay, so it won't be in the way. And I was thinking, what do you mean? But apparently she wanted to sit down or, remain sitting. So I had to kind of, she's like, come over here, like crouch down next to me. I'm like, okay. So yeah, she was the only one that had like her pictures taken sitting down. I don't know. But anyway, so she was nice too. And then I had like $40 left. So I did not have enough to like meet anyone else. But I continued walking the floor for a while. Someone mentioned that Candace's line was closed for the day. I did not see Candace Cameron, even though she was presumably there because she had a line. all of the Full House people actually had lines of people waiting for them, including creator Jeff Franklin, which he's not even an actor on the show. But anyway, so it's kind of, I started thinking about that, and I thought it was kind of weird that Jeff Franklin had like a line of people waiting for him, but it's like, as for, Jenna Green, I mean, she was an actor on Sabrina, and she seemed relatively, less popular than even Jeff Franklin. I don't know. Just an observation. Now, at one point, when I was in Melissa's line, Melissa took a quick break to walk over because Jenna was like right next to her. When you're facing them, Jenna was on the left, Melissa was on the right. But she walked over to Jenna because Jenna wanted to show her TikTok, or they were looking at TikToks on Jenna's phone, and I think Melissa even explained that to the people waiting for her. Kind of weird, but anyway, so it's like, okay, so basically Libby is showing Sabrina TikToks on her phone. Anyway, just out of curiosity, I stopped by Elizabeth Berkley's booth again, and she was not there. Now, I went and ate at the cafe that was there finally. I had like a build your own taco bowl, so that was cool. And I had a can of Pepsi. That's like the only place to sit. There were some tables outside the cafe, so I found an empty one and I sat there and ate for the first time all day. And they made an announcement that there was like 45 minutes left. So I think they were saying like, it would close at 6. I think 6. I don't remember, but so yeah, that was that. I noticed or not a lot of people, but some people would just come and hang out at Jenna's booth. Like, she would have like these one-on-one conversations with some people because really her booth was just not very active. Yeah, I was thinking of maybe that I could go and just hang out and chat with her for a while after I ate, but she did have some people waiting for her. So way out, I noticed Danica McKellar finally showed back up at her booth, so I got a glimpse of her. But then, yeah, I left. I had to figure out using Google Maps how to get back to the parking garage. And then it was easier to spot my car than I thought it would be. I found it pretty much right away. Started raining a bit. In fact, it rained. I heard thunder while I was in there, and it turns out the ground was wet when I got out of the convention center, so it had rained, and it did start raining on my way home, but it was fine. It wasn't too bad. And that's that. I transferred the selfies from my phone last night and I uploaded them. I'm going to make a video, like a video showing all of the pictures after I scan all of these, because I will be scanning them. So, and I'll add those to the video compilation. as well as on my Facebook. Um, Anything else to say about just an observation? A lot of the pics for 90s Con, including the pics of the celebrity guests, it has all these generic type of things. I'm kind of wondering if it's inspired by the imagery in the Saved by the Bell theme song, like kind of vaguely cartoonish designs and like stuff of the era, like floppy disks and Tamagotchis and cassette tapes and Game Boys. Yeah, I don't know. Just a thought. Um, and oh, one other thing. Kelly actually thanked me for showing up to visit her. She was like super nice, super grateful. Yeah. Um, so let's see what else. Uh, the lines to visit each of the booths were like a little snake pattern, like a little maze. You would just go joop, 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 and like very short um, vertical lines just go, or horizontal. I mean, very short horizontal lines just. But I found a lot of people seem to find that confusing. It's kind of got very like you weren't sure who was ahead of who, and I think there was a separate VIP line next to each of those for the VIP holders to basically go ahead of everyone else. Um, Also, sometimes there were traffic. I got caught in an actual traffic jam on the floor. I had to wait for like a line of people to pass in front of me, and it just felt kind of disorganized in general. A lot of waiting in line, obviously, at least for certain guests. Um, at one point, I was thinking of going to wait in Jenny Garth's line, but her line was pretty long, so I didn't. Um, but okay, so here's who I actually saw in general. Doesn't mean in person, doesn't mean one on one, but who I saw in general. Let me just open up the guest list again to refresh my memory. Um, Danielle Fishel from Boy Meets World. I think I saw William Daniels from a distance. Um, da, 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 da. Of the Disney princesses, I think I saw Jodie Benson, maybe Paige O'Hara, but I'm not sure. Right? Maybe Linda Larkin, Judy Kuhn, maybe Susan Egan. I don't remember specifically. The only one that I remember, I think for certain, is I saw was Jodie Benson. Um, I think I saw like Carolyn Ray and Beth Broderick from a distance as well, the aunts from Sabrina, and Nate Richard, and I saw Jim Cummings. As boy band people, I don't remember seeing anyone. Um, I saw Danica McCreary Payton. I think I saw Mark Paul Gosselaar while I was like trying to wait for Elizabeth Berkley, maybe, or I kept checking on Elizabeth's booth. I think I saw Mark Paul Gosselaar. I did not see Mario Lopez. He was supposedly there. Uh, didn't see TLC. Well, obviously, only two members of TLC. They were there. I didn't see them. Um, I did not see Candace Cameron, as I mentioned. I saw Dave Coulier and Andrea Barber. I was considering going to Andrea Barber, but with only limited many money left, I went with Jody Sweden. I think I saw Scott Weinger. He was Steve and be there, but I did not see Jason Priestley. I didn't see Jenny Garth. I don't think I saw Ian Zierling or Searing. I did see Brian Austin Green while I was waiting in Tori Spelling's line. Might have seen Gabriel Cortez. I think I saw Holly Marie Combs and Rose McGowan. Shannon was there as part of 90210, not as part of Charmed. In fact, today there is because the con goes through today. Today they have like the 9210 panel and the Charmed panel, but Shannon is only on the 9210 panel, not the Charmed panel. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so I did see Elizabeth Berkley, the cutoff point of her line, so I didn't actually get to meet her. Yeah. Hey, Donald, thanks for joining me. So I think that's about it. As I said, I recorded most of the Family Matters panel. I'll try to upload that whenever I can. I think I have to transfer the videos to, or off my phone anyway, first in order to be able to upload them, because I don't think I can upload directly from my phone. I think I tried that once before and it wouldn't allow me to do that. But the beginning of the cosplay contest with my phone, I think I tried that once before and it wouldn't allow me to do that. But the beginning of the cosplay contest with Claire Kramer is on here, so that's a few minutes worth of stuff. That'll probably be the first video that you see from this. And as I said, I'll try and make a compilation video of all of the pics, the selfies and scans of the 8x10s. So look for that eventually. And yeah, it was a fun experience. It was nice to meet all of these people, and as I said, everyone was nice. So I might do this again next year if they show up again next year, depending on like who the guests are, obviously, and how badly that I want to meet them. So that's it. It's 3:53 p.m. and that's it. Thanks for watching.